Hi everybody, in this video we're going to practice our 30, 60, 90 triangles as well as our 45, 45, 90 triangles. So let's start out with knowing where do we have these different measurements on our 30, 60, 90 triangle. Remember in class, we went over our 30, 60, 90. Let's say this one is 60, this one is 30. And the side that is across from your 30 is always your A side. Okay, so whatever your length of this side across from the 30-degree angle is always going to be kind of like your base number, your A. Okay, your other leg, the leg that is across from the 60-degree angle, is called B. And B equals A times the square root of 3. Okay, so as long as you know what A is, we know what B is. And if we knew what B was, we could go ahead and solve for A. And then lastly, your C, your hypotenuse, that is always across from your 90-degree angle, is 2A. Okay? So we're going to use all of this knowledge in order to solve for our different side lengths for our 30, 60, 90 triangles here. Now for this one, number one, we're seeing that the only given piece is that I have this 7/2. And this 7/2 is across from my 30-degree angle. So I know that this is my side A, which must mean that this B, this variable B that I'm solving for, is B from my diagram here, which is also known as A root 3. Okay, now I know what A is. A was 7/2. So really, I have my answer here, 7/2 times the square root of 3. And we can leave it in radical form like this. No need to put it into a calculator and solve. Now this here is going to be my hypotenuse. So really, we'll think of this as C, which is 2A. And so that is my 7/2 times 2, which is the same thing as 7. Okay. So that was using if we had A as my knowledge, okay, as my given information. Let's take a look at when we have something else. Number 3 here. I have my 90-degree angle, 30-degree angle, so this must be my 60-degree angle. And what is given is the side that is across from my 60-degree angle. Remembering that that side is always, we'll note it as B, which is A times the square root of 3. Okay? So in order to solve for my A, the one that is across from my 30-degree angle here, I'm going to go ahead and do some algebra. So I know that 2 square root 5 is equal to A root 3. In order to solve for my A, since they are combined by multiplication, I just have to divide by the number that is not my variable. Okay? So I have 2 square root 5 over the square root of 3. If you do remember about how to rationalize denominators, you could go ahead and do so, finding out that your answer is actually 2 root 15 over 3. But if you're unsure, we can go ahead and stick with this answer. This is perfectly fine. So this unknown that we did not know before is 2 root 5 over the square root of 3. Okay. My hypotenuse, my C, remember that it is the same as 2A. So if I multiply 2 by the A that I just solved for, I get 4 root 5 over 3. Or if you had rationalized the denominator, square root of 3. If you rationalize your denominator, you would have 4 root 15 over 3. Okay, both answers very acceptable. Now our last one, number 5, we're going to take a look at what happens if we have the hypotenuse as my given information. Remembering that your hypotenuse, again, is C, which is also denoted as 2A. Okay. Here, this is my 60-degree angle. So the one that's across, I know they're giving a lot of different variables here. Think of this as your B side, okay, which is A root 3. And here where my 30 degrees should be, across from that side, this is my A side, okay? So since we have the knowledge of our hypotenuse, we're going to go ahead and solve for A. 6 root 3 is 2A. So if I divide by 2, I get 3 root 3 is A. Okay, so here we have 3 root 3. In order to solve for B now, I know that all I have to do is multiply my A by a square root of 3. So we can do 3 root 3 times root 3. Remembering that since they do have the same square root, they're under the same roof, we can go ahead and make it look like this. So this is 3 root 9. And the square root of 9, we knew from the step right before that we have multiples 3 and 3. Okay, so this is a perfect square. So it now becomes 3 times 3, which is 9 for my B. Our other type of special right triangle is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now, what is special about a 45, 45, 90 triangle is, one, it is an isosceles triangle. Okay, so let us draw out our diagram. Okay, so 45, 45 means that they have the same angle measure. And remember we said that the side measures will correspond because they'll have the same measure as each other. So really our side lengths, our legs, are going to be equal to each other. And then our hypotenuse, the one that is across from our right angle always, is going to be C again, but it is A root 2. So no matter what you have for your answer of A, your hypotenuse will always be that A value multiplied by a square root of 2. So let's take a look at these two problems here. Number 7, we have a leg, okay? Remembering that all of our legs here and here will be equal to each other. So y equals 9 as well. Now our hypotenuse, remember, it is just your leg, your A root 2. A, we found out was 9, so it's just 9 root 2. Okay. Now let's take a look at what happens if we had the hypotenuse as my given information. So it's saying that my hypotenuse is 3, which means that this 3 is equal to A root 2. So in order to solve for A, my two legs here of X and Y, all I have to do is go ahead and divide by my square root of 2. Okay, remembering again that this was multiplication, that's why we're dividing. So my A, my leg, can be 3 root 2. If you know about rationalizing your denominators, you can go ahead and do that and find out that your leg is actually 3 root 2 over 2. Remembering that both of these answers will be accepted, and this would be your two leg values. Now that I've walked through some of these problems, the other ones are left blank for you in order to practice yourself. Good luck.